Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show here is just if we add an infeed to this system, how it's going to behave. I've only added two things to the blueprint at the moment. This will allow me to activate and deactivate these inserters, so we're just going to let these fill up at first, see what happens. And then I ran it once blank, so these spots have already filled up. Those won't affect our counts at the end. And I added this to enable and disable the infeed for the science packs themselves. So we're going to turn this side on and watch what happens. Helps if I connect the last wire. So let's let this run for a minute, and you'll see right away that with an even yellow and white on this side, this inserter's prioritizing the white. In this system, if you have a solid infeed of both, you're only going to get white science in this chest. And there's no limiter on how many white science will be here. So this is just going to fill up with white science in this method of an infeed. Now, if we were to also turn this on the other side, this uneven infeed of the white science is going to result in this loop building up in white science and eventually backing up, because no yellow science is ever pulled off, no research will ever be done. We can activate one of the infinite researches here. I've got it on instant. Team off. I'm back, but for a different reason. The main line caught back up to the end here, and you can already see, because of the constant infeed, we have a backlog problem. You could do something just on restricting the infeed here to help minimize this, but as is, without any logic, this can't just be plugged into an existing base and used with built-in feed. Be right back. Alright, third time's the charm. I tried to record this part a couple of times now and I failed. Alright, so I stand corrected. I thought that even if you had a red distribution in feed imbalance on requester chests, that this would also back up eventually. Because of the set value of 200, it will only fill maybe a couple of squares. It won't actually back up. Requester chest version should work, except for because of this last chest that's using both yellow and white. So, go ahead and turn this on. I'm also not sure how beneficial this full balancing structure is. It mixes it up a bit, but not evenly, so I don't know how much benefit actually comes from it being this thorough. I'm going to play with modifying that a bit in a second, but as you can see, we're getting only the white at the moment, because white's the furthest, or the last item in the box, so it's only picking up that item and putting it out onto the belt, all the way till it comes back around the other side and is being filled by this. So we'll never get to the point where we're using the yellow packs at all. We have to do some change to modify that. We could add another inserter here, pull it around here, and feed it back into the side. I did that earlier. It works. It gets a little stutter because now this side's slower at filling the chest than the two outputting. That can slow down a couple of the lanes. And you can see that sometimes the lanes slow, like green here, slowing a little bit more than other lanes. That will occasionally reach all the way back and slow down a neighboring lane, only when it's fully compressed and keeps running for a while. Which I think is just a product of the way that this mixes things up here. If things go too much along longer paths than others, it can mean that it's got bursts of more work to do on the infeed side, which back it up a bit, but it always comes back. So this will always work for throughput, except this last chest here, we have to find a way to deal with that. So I'm going to do a quick tweak to that and the balancer and see what I can do. Alright, so yeah, my final modifications that I tried here were I just continued the same pattern up here to add a filter for the yellow and added an additional row for the white, and just simplified the balancing to see if it would work still the same. It looks like blue's backing up quite a bit here. I don't know if it's getting an uneven feed because of the way that this balances or not, but this might be a problem. Maybe the other one did balance better than I thought it did at a look, so this is backing up a bit. See, because it's reaching here, it's causing a bit of a delay, which will slow down the next lane only ever so slightly. Um, but this does work about the same. You can continue the same logic. You have to, maybe the balancing needs some work to get it as smooth as the other was. This occurred occasionally in the other as well, as I had mentioned, so it might be that both aren't good enough balancing systems and something better can be used. But this works apparently as well as the other while correcting the last chest error problem with the two items in the same chest. This will never clog as I had previously thought it would, except slowing sputters like this occasionally. Not a full clog. And that can probably be addressed by reworking the balancing on the infeed.